Tim Driscoll. He is with, he's a broker owner of Portside Real Estate right in the beautiful town of Duxbury. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you on the show. Tim, interesting background for us. I don't think we've ever had someone on the show with your type of background. You used to work at the Boston Stock Exchange?
That's correct.
That's interesting.
No longer in existence.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
How long were you with the Boston Stock Exchange?
14 years. 14 years. I was a trader on the floor. Last 10, I worked for Fidelity, representing their interest on the Boston Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So one stressful job to...
Yep.
I don't know. Not so stressful? I don't know.
Exactly.
Very stressful? I don't
There's
know.
similarities for sure.
Sure.
For sure, yeah. I said the stock market was a young man's game. When I turned 40, I made the transition. Originally got into the mortgage business for a couple of years while I opened my real estate office, but it's this has some stress points too.
Yeah.
But when you were in the stock exchange, I mean, it's evident that you had a sphere of trusted individuals that looked to you to make those investments for them.
Right.
But they also looked to you to give them real estate advice, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's really where the seed was planted wanting to pursue a career in real estate.
My outside interest after my day was done was always in and out of real estate, whether it was in the city or my neighborhoods. I lived in Charlestown at the time. I don't think anybody ever bought something in the city without asking me first.
Yeah.
I felt like I knew the market better than some of the agents there. I was in and out. I saw the change in the early 90s. I saw when the market kind of rebounded. I was actually just in kind of my first area of success in the stock market arena, so I was purchasing during the downturn.
Right.
And I said, geez, you can buy some of these 3 families, and the condos are starting to get 200, and you're buying them for 300 or 400. I said, I could see the turnaround time, but I didn't have time to get out of I couldn't leave my desk on the trading floor. So
what brought you?
Some opportunities.
So what brought you down to Duxbury?
Beautiful town.
Yeah.
Started a family. Made the transition. Some of my colleagues at Fidelity actually lived there, and went to visit a few times. I summered in Marshfield as a kid.
Sure.
So kind of natural transition, and stumbled into Duxbury by accident. Kind of when I was purchasing, I was kind of looking around, but. It's a beautiful town, great place to live, and I feel like you're on vacation still every day. It's just every day's different.
No, you gotta love it when you work and you feel like you're on vacation. Yeah. But okay, so there's a lot of real estate agents out there. There's a lot of real estate brokerage firms out there. Yeah. What sort of distinguishes Tim and Portside Real Estate from your competition? What sets you apart?
Well, no, everybody's good. Everybody's talented in their own different way, but it's an approach. I try to remain calm with my clients. I don't try to rush them into judgments. I'll spend some time talking to them about maybe you might want to pull back. It's not the right time. Let's stay out of this situation. I'll approach the negatives as much as I will the positives. I always look at it that people transition quick in Duxbury. Someone might be there for 3 or 4 years and they think this is their forever house. They might be moving up. There's always a transition spot in Duxbury. There's always closer to the water. Everybody's trying to move in a certain spot if they can. So I'm looking at it as if I'm the buyer, but I'm going to be selling this house in 3 to 4 years. They don't know it yet.
Sure.
But so I don't want to be stuck with a house that I can't sell.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really cautious when we go into that.
Let's give the listeners, so people that aren't familiar with Duxbury, just a quick idea. What does a starter home go for in Duxbury? 3 bedrooms, 2 bath type of product.
Other than this year?
Yeah.
I was surprised when I first moved there. You can buy a nice home in the 400 to 500 range.
Yeah.
A 3-bedroom, 2-bath Cape.
That's interesting because everybody hears Duxbury and they go, "Oh, I can't afford Duxbury."
Right.
But no, there are pockets of affordability there. And what makes Duxbury attractive?
It's just a great school system. The schools are almost like a little college campus. It's beautiful. I went to BC High as a kid, and it's a similar campus to BC High. Open fields. All the schools after second grade are all in one spot, and it's literally walking distance to the bay.
Oh, nice.
Your kids have access.
Lucky them, huh?
Yeah.
Jesus.
There's a maritime school in Duxbury. The kids do rowing, sailing. It's very unique to the town. My son's on the rowing team. He walks to his practice after school.
Wow.
It's just a unique spot.
Commuter access?
There's a bus right at exit 10, right on the Kingston-Duxbury line. There's a bus that takes you. couple of minutes, couple of exits away for the trains. Kingston line, you can catch that at 3 or 4 different spots.
Wow.
Now we talked about the starter home, being in that $400,000 to $500,000 range, which is great.
Yeah.
Where's the move up buyer? In the last show we talked a lot about the fact that in the first time home buyer market, there's typical places where it's really on fire. Then there's a point in which it softens a little bit,
Right.
and we talked about where the move up buyer actually has some advantages because they're not going and competing with multiple offers and things like that.
Actually, we called it a buyer's market.
Yeah, it's a buyer's market.
Yeah.
It's a buyer's market for maybe that move up buyer in that certain price point. In Duxbury, what is that price point? Where are you seeing a little bit of softening where
is there?
There's not multiple offers, and let me not assume, is there a softening?
Historically, in the past few years, I'd say that has changed this year. So 800s into the million range was tough. This year, that 8 to 900 is really strong. And I think you had another agent here from Duxbury before. Duxbury's a delicate market. You have to be spot on with your pricing. You price it a little high. It's not like Boston where you're going to get taken out anyways. The savvy buyer here, they know it's just location. Location is really specific to Duxbury. If it's even $30,000 higher, you won't get the number. It's really specific. It's amazing.
So you're saying that. So really, when you get up into that million mark,
that 900 to $1.1 million is a tough point. A lot of people think their house is there, and it might not be. And if they overprice it a little bit, they might lose few percentage points on the downside if they're wrong.
So would you characterize that price point as being soft?
It's a little softer, but this year it's stronger than normal. But the last, that's historically a tough market.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it takes a little of the market to get energized. That 600-700 market has to clear out, and then they become the buyers for those properties. So it takes a little while for those to get going.
You mentioned that when you're talking to potential buyers, obviously you're thinking 3-4 years down the road because they always transition. I find that really quite interesting. So there is a general average trend of sort of a starter home, and then they fall in love with the town, but they want to get into it closer to the beach, so on and so forth, and 3-4 years is average.
Correct. So the closer to the beach is also closer to the schools. That's the whole thing with Duxbury. The new schools, we have a new middle school, high school in town. The rest of the schools aren't that old prior to that, but so it's a walking distance to the bay, to the beach. So it's kind of a combo effect. We have Powder Point, Standish Shore, Washington Street, which is really the elegant section of Duxbury, but all around surrounding areas just inside of 3A is all surrounded by the schools and a real short commute for the schools.
Let me ask you this. Are you seeing a trend where individuals that have lived in Duxbury for a long period of time, their kids have now left, they're sitting in a 3,000-4,000 square foot house. Are they downsizing? Are they trying to move out of Duxbury, or do they want to stay in Duxbury, and is there any options available to them?
So there's a new thing that's come up in the last few years. It's called Duxbury remorse. Some people will move out of Duxbury
and they want back,
and they won't come back in. If they try to downsize, everybody's taxes have gone higher. Pretty much a lot of the surrounding towns have had new schools. So a lot of towns have beautiful new schools. Hanover, Pembroke, Silver Lake, I believe, has new schools. So Marshfield has new schools. So everybody's taxes has gotten higher. So they think they're going out, but you just can't replace that. So there are now alternatives trying to come into Duxbury to try to find that niche. One was scooped up last year, a run, Duxbury Woods. It was a great alternative and a very successful development to fit that.
Do you foresee more of those developments coming down the line?
Yeah, I think it will.
Okay.
There's people who want to stay.
Clearly, there's an opportunity there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, Tim, like I said, you specialize in the Duxbury area. Certainly, the surrounding towns you've got a ton of knowledge in as well.
If any of as far as Milton, actually, right?
Yeah. So, Tim, if you have anybody's listening that would like to get more information, especially, and again, I'd urge you, if you live in Duxbury, call Tim and get a market analysis on your property. You might have a ton of equity trapped in that home, which will allow you to either downsize and pay cash or upsize and not have a huge mortgage.